Hello, my name is Wyatt.
My name's Austin.
My name's Emma.
My name is Isabel.
We are here today to talk about Down syndrome, people with Down syndrome, and a local organization called the For Good Troupe. A little bit of basic information about Down syndrome is that it is caused by abnormal cell division causing an extra full or partial copy of chromosome 21. There are 3 different genetic variations of Down syndrome, with the most common being trisomy 21. This one is the most common and occurs in about 95% of cases. Down syndrome varies from person to person, although it generally results in distinct physical features such as a flattened face and slower speech. It also commonly causes other medical conditions, including heart and digestive system problems. There are developmental delays as well. Children with Down syndrome take longer to reach developmental milestones, such as sitting, walking, and talking. Most people with Down syndrome have mild to moderative cognitive impairment. They also have problems with memory, learning new things, focusing and thinking, or making decisions that affect their everyday life. This information was taken from an article produced by the Mayo Clinic.
There is appropriate language when referring to Down syndrome and people with Down syndrome. A person first and identity first language is always a good habit. This is something that was learned in RHS 100 or disability culture.
There has been a rise in designated spaces that support adaptable and alternative recreational activities for individuals with Down syndrome as well as other disabilities. This is usually referred to as special recreation or adaptive recreation. The Special Olympics is a well-known and highly respected global sports program and a form of adaptive recreation. According to the Special Olympics website, there are 46,000 sports competitions annually in 177 countries.
A more local alternative is the For Good Troupe. According to the Center Region Down Syndrome Society website, this vital platform offers the opportunity for persons with Down syndrome to participate in musical theater and performance activities while giving the broader community the opportunity to attend the performance and celebrate with the For Good Troupe. The For Good Troupe's mission statement is to provide individuals with Down syndrome and their families with tools, resources, and support necessary to participate in, contribute to, and achieve personal fulfillment. The For Good Troupe generally puts on 2 shows a year, one in the fall and one in spring, facilitated by volunteers from the Center County community and the Penn State community. Now let's hear from Dr. Krista Wilkinson on a little bit more on the For Good Troupe.
Wyatt, Emma, and I are here today with Dr. Krista Wilkinson, the outgoing president for the Center Region Down Syndrome Society and the founder of the For Good Troupe. Would you mind giving us a little spiel about what both of those are and the mission for both?
Sure. So the Center Region Down Syndrome Society is a not-for-profit that was started in the mid-2000s to really serve local families who have a child or a other family member with Down syndrome. And it offers a wide range of activities and resources. It sponsors a challenger baseball team, so a baseball team for folks with special needs. We have an enrichment fund that people can apply to get a membership at a health club or something like that. We have various other things that we do, and the For Good Performance Troupe is one of the activities that is supported by the Center Region Down Syndrome Society. The For Good Performance Troupe is a troupe that's dedicated to, or whose mission is to offer people with Down syndrome the opportunity to shine on the stage and to offer members of the community the opportunity to appreciate their skills. So that's really what we are intending to do, is to provide folks who might otherwise in community theater or in the theater programs in their schools not necessarily get the starring role. Here they're going to have the starring role, and it's kind of amazing how well they rise to that occasion.
Yeah. So you said, it's like people from the community can come and see these, peoples and their ability. How do you measure their growth and performance off stage?
So that is an excellent question. I don't myself directly measure their growth off stage. I can tell you that the parents and the family members, their testimonials is really what it grounds this. So there's a lot of here's an anecdote from one of our performances. We had a young man. We were doing Agony from Into the Woods. So there's Rapunzel's prince and the other princess is Prince. And they are each singing about how they love their princesses and the princess doesn't love them back. And one of our performers had invited all of his friends from school. He was, I think, in middle school at the time. All of his friends from school, and he was one of the princes. And so he's singing his song, and it's a great song. And he finishes his song, and silence descends before the clapping. And some kid from the audience yells out, "That was awesome!" And it was actually one of his friends from school.
Nice.
So yeah, so there's kind of like, I think there's not that many opportunities for this kind of thing to happen for anybody. And for this kid to be the one who has a friend shouting how awesome he is. And that I'm sure went back to his school. So we've had a lot of those kinds of things where people come in with like a certain set of expectations about what they're going to see and come away with those expectations haven't been shattered. You'll hear a lot from the parents about, my child is shy and doesn't always want to use speech. And then after they've experienced, the For Good Troupe, they're doing a lot more of that. So you're seeing these implications outside of that. I always talk about this one young woman who, she's very shy. She wouldn't necessarily have a conversation with you in the hallway. So you think, oh, here's a very shy person. And then you'll see Grease Lightning comes up and she's like elbowing her way to the front of the stage and belting it out. So it's really kind of amazing to see people who aren't necessarily outgoing in this context. They're shining.
Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing. Bring it back to community as well. Like obviously this troupe is fostering a lot of community. Do you feel that recreation in general, recreation creates that sense of community? Do you notice that sense of community within the For Good Troupe?
Yeah, so this is one of the things, this is one of the reasons. So I have started a class where we're in conjunction with my colleague, Michelle Dunleavy from the School of Theater. She's a percussive tap dancer who has really embraced the idea of the arts. She's actually the Arts Laureate this year for Penn State. So she travels to all of the campuses sharing her vision, and her vision is encapsulated by the name of her laureate. Everybody can dance. Not everybody, but everybody. Like dance is available for every person's bodies, no matter whether they're in a wheelchair or whether they're, in a walker or low vision. I lost my train of thought. So I started the class because I really saw these benefits to the individuals in terms of their own communication, but also the ability to create such a close, cohesive community. Lost my train of thought again. Oh, so there's actually a paper, which I assign in all of my classes, by a former colleague of mine. She moved away from Penn State, but she wrote a paper on friendship and what are the things that go into becoming friends, and why, in the context she was writing in terms of folks who have autism who can struggle to make friends. Why are friendship building programs which were typically social skills teaching programs, we're teaching them things, but they weren't resulting in authentic friendships. And she talks about that various kinds of leisure activities. She was talking actually about video games, but it also holds for performance, that you need to have repeated opportunities to engage in it. So it can't be just like a one-off. It has to be motivating for everybody. And everyone has to have something of value that they bring. It doesn't have to be the same thing of value, but it has to be something of value that they bring to it. And performance is perfect for that because everybody has something that they can contribute, even if it's not the same thing as the person next to them. So yes, in terms of the sense of community, I think there's both theoretical reasons why we would expect this to be successful. And then of course, we've seen that happening within the group itself.
So cool. That's awesome.
So with that, what are some other ways that you foster like teamwork and collaboration with people?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We have incorporated improvisation in to the class. We had incorporated it pre-COVID, and then COVID happened, and it was a little hard to do on Zoom. So we've reincorporated it in, and the improvisation activities really allow for the groups to work together, but again, have something unique to offer. So one of the things we do is we have a djembe, which is an African drum, and we do call and response with the djembe. So someone does a pattern on the djembe, the rest of us repeat it, and we do that 3 times. So it becomes like a little call, and then the next person gets the djembe, and they get to do it, and then the next person gets the djembe, and that's been really great because again, some of our folks are like anybody. Some of them are really talkative, and some of them are quieter. And the djembe allows them to lead just as everyone else is leading in some of the other activities. So we foster it by really meeting everybody where they're at and saying, what does this person bring that we can spotlight?
Okay.
We are doing this semester, Any Dream Will Do from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's awesome. And I have a friend who's a seamstress. So anybody who wanted, so we have people in tunics and they're holding candles. And then we have people in dreamcoats. And anybody who wanted a dreamcoat gets to have a dream coat, thanks to my friend. So the way we are structuring it now is that the people in tunics who are singing kind of the background are arrayed in a semicircle in the back, and the Josephs are all in front. And then during this long musical interlude, they walk around behind the folks in tunics, and then they come out and do a sachet showing off their golden linings of their coat. So they each get to be spotlighted. So again, it can be, anybody can do it, and they can do it in their own way, but they're all doing something that we're doing together.
Yeah, that's awesome. A great way to bring people together. Just give them their own spotlight.
Yeah.
So, talking about like the community stuff, do you find that the like participating in the troupe, it gives them like better confidence or like the skills to be to participate more in like the community and like give them that confidence like to build off of?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's one of the things in my class that we actually talk about a lot is like, what is doing this improvisation helping you with? And people will talk about, I realized that in a job interview, when maybe I'm going to sit up straighter, like we talk about breathing and posture, and they take that and they apply it to the things that they're doing in their own lives. So yeah, we're definitely seeing that. Again, for the For Good Troupe, this is all stuff I've observed. I'm really more analyzing it in the class itself. But yeah, you definitely see kind of, and you hear again the parents talking about this a lot. The young man whose friend came and was like, that was awesome, was very shy and did not like noisy places. And now he's, he's out and about, and he's done a lot. He auditioned for and was brought into Happy Valley's Got Talent.
Oh,
yeah, it's an
so
audition,
cool.
and he auditioned, and I know he's the same age as my daughters and many of her friends, and I know a lot of people who auditioned and didn't get in. He got in. He's up there at the State Theater on the stage singing his Elvis songs.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's definitely something where you can see those effects.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so great. And then shifting more to pause. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Shifting more to the challenges and restrictions that you also have to face, because obviously there's so many positive and such bright lights that come from the For Good Troupe. What are the biggest challenges and restrictions that you have within the community, the organization, anything?
I think there's always, we don't have a stage.
Yeah.
So there's that. As it turns out, we decided to do the showcase. It's a much better actually way for us to do it. So that felt like a restriction. I would say figuring out how to meet everybody where they are is probably our biggest challenge. I think it's also, we've been going for 12 years. Most of the people have been going for many of those years. So when you have a new person come in, they're coming into a really well-established group.
Yeah.
And so that feels like a challenge. It hasn't generally really ended up being a challenge because we have a new person this semester and he's fully integrated because of the things that we do, like that everybody gets the spotlight. There was one point where one of the performers it was before we started rehearsing, was doing push-ups on the floor. So this kid gets down, does his push-ups. So we had a little push-up battle going on. So it's but I think that's the biggest challenge is finding how to meet people where they are. This semester, we incorporated a seated option for all of our songs. We're not ending up using it, although we have one song that is done in seats, because we wanted to make sure that people who had, mobility issues. I broke my toe last semester, or somebody broke their ankle. So we wanted to make sure that everyone felt comfortable, even if they weren't up and moving. So that's probably our biggest, is being creative. We have 2 folks who don't use a lot of speech, and they use voice output communication aids. It's just called AAC. And they don't use them typically in their regular lives because they're able to use the other communication modes that they have, but it makes them unable to participate in terms of orally introducing our songs. So our songs and our activities are introduced by our performers, and many of them come up and read the script I give them. Last semester, the mom of one of them who has an AAC device, she said, well, he doesn't really use it, but he realized in this one place he could use it. And I was like, would you like to program it so that he can introduce his favorite song? He ended up introducing 2 songs with his voice output. So you'll see it again. He comes up and he hits the button and it announces it for him. And, he's participating just like everyone else. So in the past, we had folks who didn't really use a lot of speech holding like a picture. So if we were introducing The Lion King, they would be holding the picture and someone else would be speaking the lines. But now we can include everyone because we've got the AAC involved. So
that's so great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess expanding out more specifically to like Penn State programs. Do you interact with any other programs through Penn State to expand like any recreational opportunities for the participants?
So I've kept it fairly separate for reasons related to the fact that we started in 2012 and we started on campus and then we had minors. And so we ended up being adopted by the State College Area School District, which is accustomed to having minors on campus. However, that being said, yes, we have many connections. Not necessarily for leisure, but I will come back to that.
Okay.
But with organizations here at Penn State. So we have the Penn State Sign Language Organization has come and they have helped us translate some of our songs into sign language. So this semester, only one of our songs is signed, but it's our signature song, For Good. But usually we'll have 2 to 3 signed songs. So that's been going on for many years. The Student Speech and Language Hearing Association in my department, we have a ton of volunteers from them, so they get to come and interact. The Center for Performing Arts, we've been connected with them since 2015 when they asked the For Good Troupe to come help lead this family-friendly dance workshop called Let's Dance. And that started, I think, in 2015. It used to happen right out here at the Ford building. This past spring, in March of 2024, we didn't perform, we helped Michelle lead the dance workshop at the Center for the Performing Arts. Nice. So that's been a wonderful connection and then last year, we connected with Kikora Franklin, who is the interim director of the School of Theater. And she runs a program called Roots of Life, which is a West African drumming and dance troupe that has been going on for many years, hosted through the State College Area School District, but led by Kikora. And so last year we did a combined performance between the For Good Troupe and the Roots of Life troupe at the middle school here in town. So nice. We have a lot of reach, which is nice.
That's so great. With that, like recreation has like been proven to increase like mental health or mental well-being, mental health as well. Do you notice that in your participants through like recreation of like performing and dancing? Like, do you see like visual or they just notice that like increase in mental health?
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I mean, these folks, last weekend was the Ohio State game at noon. We started at 11. We had people from Bald Eagle and they had made their way through the traffic from Bellefonte and Bald Eagle. So I think people enjoy it, but I think it also must have these other kinds of benefits because you don't always slog your way through Ohio State traffic just because you're enjoying it. So I feel that there's a lot of that involved. There was something else you asked about, physical health. Yeah. You didn't ask about it, but yes, one of the things we do a lot. We do Grease Lightning. We do a lot of active songs. This semester I've tried to have a slightly better blend because last semester we were all exhausted by the end of the rehearsal. But yeah, so this is a great natural way for people to engage in physical activity in a fun way that doesn't feel like you're going to the gym. And I mean, I like the gym, but
not everybody's a cup of tea, right?
Right.
That's awesome.
Kind of one question. So you worked with the State College School District, but other parts of the community, like the State Theater, do you do stuff with them? Get connected with the community itself?
We would love to do that. And we actually entered into that conversation. Yes. We entered into that conversation last year. We actually were hoping to have the Roots of Life and For Good performance there. And and the State Theater was so welcoming.
Mhm.
However, the timeline was hard
Mm.
because when we wanted it was April, and that's when there's like a sliver of time
Mm.
available at the
Mhm.
State Theater. They were very, very welcoming of the idea, and we
Mhm.
would absolutely like to kind of reboot that.
Mhm.
The Roots of Life, would be the other one. I know that Tempest Productions, which is
Mhm.
down in the Fraser Street area, they are very interested in developing something. They've really been more working with Michelle than myself. But I think there's a lot of interest in the community for inclusive performance in general.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of really what we're
Mhm.
promoting.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Do you know of any like professional like developments or like opportunities that have been provided to people in the For Good Troupe because of it? Like any sort of just professional development?
Yes. So Caleb is one of our founding members. He obviously has Down syndrome. My son is a filmmaker. My son's whole canon is films that are ways for people with intellectual disabilities to realize their creative voice. So, and Caleb and Matt connected through the For Good Troupe. Matt was a peer at the For Good Troupe when he was in high school. When Matt was a senior, you have to take documentary film class, and so you have to pitch an idea, and whoever idea gets chosen by the small group, that's the one that gets made. So Matt pitched the idea to his group, that they do a documentary film about Matt and Caleb working together to make the fourth installment of the Back to the Future series, which was Caleb's favorite film. So Caleb already had a script written. And so this is the documentary film that got chosen. So Matt and Caleb worked to make the film, which is a 5-minute trailer, and the students made the documentary about that process. So that was kind of Caleb's first foray into filmmaking. Caleb is now a student at Penn State through the WorkLink program, and he's taking filmmaking now. So he's learning how to do all of it himself. He and Matt worked together to do it for that one. That film was submitted to the Blue White Film Festival, which is the student film festival that takes place at the state, and was accepted. So Caleb got to come to watch himself on this film, and of course he was dressed up as Marty McFly, which is who he played. And so all of the people came out afterwards to congratulate him. So that was really that was the beginning. He and another student with disabilities and Matt are now all principals of that website, of the Molly Nook Films is called. That's the website. And Caleb and Matt and this other student are the ones who have the vision. So involved in the creative process from the very beginning. This last July, Michelle, who co-teaches my class with me, she's also our choreographer at For Good. Michelle and I submitted a workshop proposal to what's called the Ed at Lead conference, which is educators who are doing inclusive arts. It's sponsored by the Kennedy Center, but although it took place in Seattle, and about the For Good Troupe and the class. And it got accepted. And so Caleb and Michelle and I went to a conference to be presenters. We flew all the way to Seattle. So he's probably the one who's most invested in having it impact him kind of personally and professionally, at least the one that I know of. But those are the kinds of opportunities we're really trying to promote.
Great.
Is that an answer to your
Yes.
question? Okay.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah. You two
Yes.
have any other questions?
That's all from me.
Okay. Well,
That's
this has been great.
Well, thank you. For
Thank you
coming.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. I
That was
really
awesome.
appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday.
Week from Saturday.
Right, week from Saturday.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Awesome.
Great.
Be looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Bring your friends.
Oh, for sure.
We'll have cake.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
that's so cool.
All right.
So now we're going to talk about our three members' reactions to the For Good Troupe show's performance. What did you guys think about the show?
So my initial reactions after the show, I thought it was a really great opportunity to just bring the community together. The Down syndrome community, as well as like the Down syndrome society, all the people that put all that work into it, as well as the Center County community as a whole. A lot of people from the audience were community members and Penn State community members. So it just gave us all an opportunity to come together and like unify over something as cool as adaptive recreation. And on top of that, it just kind of created a really safe space and supportive space for everybody to grow and learn new things. So I know I left learning a lot about the Down syndrome community, as well as different ways that we can make recreation adaptive for like all communities. And with that, Krista did a great job organizing it. And throughout her interview, I think you could see a lot of her passion with the community as a whole and with the people that, even the audience members that come. She was very interactive with everyone. And that just really created a good and great environment for the For Good Troupe to thrive in.
Yeah, going off of what Emma said, I think what really stood out to me was the sense of community that everyone brought together there. Like Emma said, it was a very safe space and very, very supportive of everyone that was performing and all the family members. That's really what stood out to me. It's rare to see that amount of community and sort of bonding happen. So it was great to see.
Yeah, my first thought was just how much fun they were having. Like you could see it on everyone's face. Like everyone just all smiles. Like they was having a great time. I left there with a big smile. I thought it was a fun way to spend my time. I never was really bored during it. I thought, and it was just the songs were fun. They did like a partner thing where they like grouped up. They are partnered with someone and like they'd react from their dance moves. It was so much fun to see their like personality in it and how they acted to each other. Also, I wish I had the names, but the two guys with the biker jackets.
Oh, they were so good.
Yeah, no.
Love some good personality.
Yeah, no. They really just got the shine on who they were on just throughout the performance, and you kind of forget like it's just more just performance than what you come in expecting.
Yeah, I feel like with that, like how throughout each performance that like was rehearsed, they had all of the improv performances, and like you said, I feel like that really gives the performers an opportunity to like show their uniqueness and their personalization to the show, and it even makes it more entertaining for the audience as well. Like there's a lot of interactive parts, but with like the uniqueness, it would kind of just give you something new to watch and something like, wow, I feel like I know these individuals, and it was just really cool.
I think it just makes them more than because like you go in expecting it. It's like it's a performance by Down syndrome people, but then you more just see they're just people performing there. It's just like more. It just gives them their individuality, I guess. A lot of time, I feel like with people with like disabilities, they're more defined by it. But I think this gives them a great opportunity to be more than that. They are just performers, and they're them.
Exactly. And with that, I feel like that really circulates back to the quote that Krista said in the beginning of the performance. And she said that we all dance in the same language. And I feel like that really shows like how we can all just like come together and like it shouldn't like everybody should be able to be who they are, not defined by certain aspects of their identity. And I just thought that was like something that I really took away from the show because I still remember that quote like much after we watched the performance. But yeah.
Yeah, you could tell that they were all happy up there. It wasn't a secret that they were having fun, and I think everyone was having fun. Everyone had a great time when they were there.
I was having fun.
Also, it was cool to see the community. I think he'll be the TA for the class now, but Ezekiel was there. He's the TA. He's gonna be the new TA now.
Oh, really?
It's funny. I feel like I don't know if I remember me talking to him while I was there, but he was there with his daughter. I think it was really cool to see.
How cool is that?
That community outreach. I thought was great.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Something else that I thought was really cool was the kind of strides that they made in adaptable performances and things like that. Because obviously the For Good Troupe is already a performance of adaptive recreation, but they went even further than that to make it accommodations for individuals that have trouble standing for long periods of time, as well as individuals who have trouble speaking. So something that was really interesting was that they did a song that was they did a dance that was done sitting, which I've never seen before, but I thought it was like very fun to watch. And it was still very engaging, and they used like flags and pool noodles to like create music. And that was just like super fun and entertaining while still being able to be adaptive and like not having to use your legs. So that was really, really cool. As well as they also did a song with American Sign Language, and that allowed for a lot of people who had trouble speaking to like be fully immersed in the performance, because there were a few individuals performing that did have assistive speaking devices, and with that they also were able to introduce some of the performances and like the rehearsed performances that they did, and that was really fun because it really gave them their spotlight. And I know Krista was talking about how happy their parents were that they were able to have that spotlight and that personalization in the show.
Yeah, it was great to see an already adaptive program just go the extra mile to include absolutely everyone to the best of their ability. The sign language song was great. That was really cool. That was really cool to see.
I remember it was like that 50s, it was like the where they were acting like bikers.
The Greased Lightning.
Yeah, the Greased Lightning.
Yeah.
No, that was probably my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I was just give it back to the guy with the biker jacket. They kept doing like the hair flip. I thought, oh, it's fun. Yeah, no, that it seemed like everyone when they began to do it.
Yeah.
You could tell like they seemed like a very close group. That's
Yeah.
like I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, and allowed everyone to express themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of personalization.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if there was any other accommodations that like were needed, like the For Good Troupe would hands down like be able to accommodate to that and like create new adjustments to allow everyone to be included, because obviously inclusivity is like a really big goal and priority of theirs. So I thought that was really cool, and I could like definitely feel that energy, like even just sitting there in the audience and after talking to Krista. But yeah, after the show, it really made me wonder like how like communities like this could be positively impacted in like other places, because I know that this is like a very large thing for Lake Center County, but like what if this was put in another rural area that like really had like a lack of representation and a lack of space like for individuals with Down syndrome as well as like other disabilities? And what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it definitely could happen in an area that's maybe a little bit more rural and has less support, but like I think that one of the reasons why the For Good Troupe is so successful here is because the amount of community that there is here. With the, just having like a space to perform at the Delta program building, that's the high school, like just having that space in general is something that sometimes is pretty rare. So the fact that they were able to host something like that was great. Yeah.
But I think to that point, there is still, it's not like it doesn't take that much to do a performance like this, because it kind of, like you said, they use whatever they had, like these props, like pool noodles, like where it's like it is very possible for these people. I guess there's the commitment from people to put like it together. You can get it together. So I think there are very great opportunities for something like this, and performance is something that the quote that dance is the language everyone understands. Like this is a great way for like any group to be able to come together and give a performance.
Yeah,
like this.
I just think that the For Good Troupe is a great example of what can be done for people with disabilities in the recreation field.
I have to agree. This is like a prime example about like what can be done and how fast it can be done. Because the For Good Troupe, I mean, it's been up and running for about a decade, but like Krista got that up so fast, and like it just really shows like what passion can do and how having a community like this can really create that environment. So yeah, I think that's about all we have for our reflection, but it was an amazing experience, and I definitely would keep going to their shows, and I will be at the spring show as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was an amazing thing to see.
Yeah, can't wait to go.
Okay.
Again, I was Wyatt.
This was Austin.
I'm Emma.
And I'm Isabel.
Thank you for listening. See you on the next one.